Letter 8 on the Philosopher's Seclusion. Are you, of all people you write, really telling me to avoid the crowd, to retire from the world, and find contentment in a good conscience? Where are those Stoic rules of yours that call on a man to die in harness? Come now, do I really give you the impression that I advocate a life of inactivity? I have only buried myself away behind closed doors in order to be able to be of use to more people. With me no day is ever whiled away at ease. I claim a good part of my nights for study. I have no time for sleep. I just succumb to it, keeping my eyes at their work when they are heavy-lidded and exhausted from lack of rest. I have withdrawn from affairs as well as from society, and from my own affairs in particular. I am acting on behalf of later generations. I am writing down a few things that may be of use to them. I am committing to writing some helpful recommendations which might be compared to the formula of successful medications, the effectiveness of which I have experienced in case of my own sores, which may not have been completely cured, but have at least ceased to spread. I am pointing out to others the right path, which I have recognized only late in life, when I am worn out with my wanderings. Avoid, I cry, whatever is approved of by the mob, and things that are the gift of chance. Whenever circumstance brings some welcome thing your way, stop in suspicion and alarm. Wild animals and fish alike are taken in by this or that inviting prospect. Do you look on them as presents given to you by fortune? They are snares. Anyone among you who wishes to lead a secure life will do his very best to steer well wide of these baited bounties, which comprise yet another instance of the errors we miserable creatures fall into. We think these things are ours, when in fact it is we who are caught. That track leads to precipices. Life, on that giddy level, ends in a fall. Once, moreover, prosperity brings to carry us, of course, we are no more capable even of bringing the ship to a standstill than of going down with the consolation that she has been held on her course, or of going down once and for all. Fortune does not just capsize the boat. She hurls it headlong on the rocks and dashes it to pieces. Cling, therefore, to this sound and wholesome plan of life. Indulge the body just so far as suffices for good health. It needs to be treated somewhat strictly to prevent it from being disobedient to the spirit. Your food should appease your hunger, your drink quench your thirst, your clothing keep out the cold, your house be a protection against inclement weather. It makes no difference whether it is built of turf or variegated marble imported from another country. What you have to understand is that thatch makes a person just as good a roof as gold does. Spurn everything that is added on by way of decoration and display by unnecessary labor. Reflect that nothing merits admiration except the spirit, the impressiveness of which prevents it from being impressed by anything. If these are the things I'm saying to myself, if these are the things I'm saying to future generations, don't you think I'm doing more good than when I go into court to enter into recognizance on someone's behalf, or stamp my seal on a will, or lend my assistance by word or action in the Senate to some candidate for office. Those who appear inactive are, believe me, engaged in far more important activity. They're dealing with matters, divine and human, at the same moment. But the time has come to make an end, and in accordance with the practice I've started, to make some disbursement on this letter's behalf. For this I shall not draw on my own resources. I'm still turning over the pages of Epicurus, and the following saying, one I read today, comes from him. To win true freedom, you must be a slave to philosophy. A person who surrenders and subjects himself to her doesn't have his application deferred from day to day. He's emancipated on the spot, the very service of philosophy being freedom. Quite possibly, you'll be demanding to know why I'm quoting so many fine sayings from Epicurus, rather than ones belonging to our own school. But why should you think of them as belonging to Epicurus and not as common property? Say, how many poets say things that philosophers have said, or ought to have said, not to mention the tragedians, or our native Roman drama, which has a serious element in it, as well as stands halfway between comedy and tragedy. Think of brilliant lines to be found lying about in farces alone. Think of the number of Publilius verses that really ought to be spoken by actors wearing the tragic buskins instead of barefooted pantomime actors. I'll quote one verse of his which belongs to philosophy, and the same facet of philosophy that I was occupied with just now. A verse in which he proclaims that gifts which chance brings our way are not to be regarded as possessions. If you pray, a thing may, and it does come your way. It is a long way from being your own. I recall you expressing the same idea a good deal more happily and succinctly. What fortune has made yours is not your own. And I can't pass over that even happier expression of yours. The boon that could be given can be withdrawn. Farewell.